Now then, people, good morning and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you are all doing well on this fine Friday morning. We will be live a little bit later on reacting to Daniel Farke's pre-match presser ahead of the first Norwich City playoff semi-final on Sunday at Carrow Road. Please make sure you check out mine and Benjamin Bloom's playoff predictions that was live last night. So if you didn't catch that live, it's on the channel now. Go check it out. But we're here to talk about the 49ers. We're here to talk about Daniel Farke and his future, Archie Gray, Somerville, and much, much more. A lot of cash talk in there as well. Cash money, bitch. Cash money, bitch. Phil here exclusively revealed that pre-Southampton game, the 49ers and the conglomerate and Greta Steins and Angus Kinnear, everyone involved at Leeds United from a hierarchical perspective, had an executive dinner that took place ahead of Southampton. There was a lot of chat, on social media about this without it being confirmed, and performance reviews and stuff were mentioned, and the 49ers they're strong businessmen, they won't hack this kind of vibe. But look, the whatever went on in that meeting has now, come to the fore, and Phil Hayes shared that with us on The Athletic yesterday. I have put the article in the description. You can check it out there. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. Of course, at the minute, the club's hierarchy is in limbo, much like us fans. I was speaking with other content creators. We feel it too. We should be gearing up for the transfers, like transfer stream. Who's coming in? Who's coming out? At the minute, we're like, what division are we going to be in? There's not really any credible sort of sources, links because of this fact. So the club hierarchy is also in limbo. Although, of course, they will be preparing Marathi, the 49ers, Kinnear, Farke for any circumstance, you know what I mean? But you can't really pin the tail on the donkey, as it were, until it's been confirmed. We might not be in the Premier League. We could be in the Championship, but they'll be preparing for each eventuality. Now, of course, the 49ers and Leeds United and you and me and every man and his dog, woman, and everything in between want Leeds United to get promoted. That goes without saying. Yes, there was talk of a 2-year plan, etc., and people like to spin narratives throughout the season, and depending on how it's going, like this was a 2-year plan, but, all that sort of stuff. Ultimately, everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to win. And to win in the Championship, yes, okay, there's the league, there's second place. It's just about getting up. It's about getting up and getting back to the promised land. Now, Phil Hay, in his article, did put a piece together saying, look, if that doesn't happen, what does that mean for Leeds United? Do we need it to happen? I spoke with the Southampton fan today, big up Liam, who said, if we don't go up, it's going to be really, really tough. We know Leicester City, if they didn't go up, it was going to be really, really tough for them to be able to compete with exodus of players, etc. Looks like at Leeds United, not that many will leave. Of course, there'll be those that are out of contracts, and I did a video on that yesterday, but not that many of them are actual vital cogs in the wheel anymore. And we must remember that the 49ers did not come out and say, this is like, we have to go up. We have to go up or it's curtains. We've seen many people come out and say that, that stuff, not on Leeds United, but stressing how important it is for them to get promoted, like Leicester City, right? The 49ers didn't ever come with that narrative. They were rational about the possibility of having to play the longer game, hence why they mentioned a 2-year plan. And in private, they'll have spoken about that. And we know that the 49ers and the investment arm of the 49ers are in it for the long haul, decades or more, That's why they're still putting together big name investors coming to the club. It was only last week, and maybe it was, a puff piece to, keep fans happy. But just last week, Will Ferrell's coming on board. That's not been officially announced, but we know that it is happening. Of course, if we don't go up through the playoffs, it will be considered a failure, comparative to how we've operated this season. But not by any stretch of the imagination will they be loading the gun ready to fire people at will, which is what a lot of people seem to think, or a lot of people want, okay? Now, down to brass tacks, we're going to be fine financially. Kieran Maguire said this. I've reiterated this on a number of times on my show. There's all this talk, 70 million, 120 million, we're in the shit, but without actually looking into the fine minutiae detail. Now, of course, we can't get away from the fact that Leeds United have one of the biggest Championship salaries. We had 12 million a month salary cost prior to the season. Obviously, that was heavily slashed. With wage reductions, with people being sent out on loan, etc. But that still doesn't mean that Leeds United's wage structure wasn't still the highest or one of, Now, the finances have remained within PSR, within profit and sustainability. Not as easy as I first envisaged, or I first thought. Can't get away from that fact. And that's why the likes of Sinistera's season-long loan to Bournemouth gets brought forward and a permanent deal's done early so that we can comply with that. So it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows, but know that going into next year, we won't have any PSR problems. But of course, you can't get away from the fact that spending a second year in the Championship is not good. It's not good, not least because the amount of parachute payment that you get second year after relegation drops from 44 million to around about 35 million. So you're just shy of 10 million you lose in there. Of course, as well, the acceptable losses that you're allowed drop from 83 to 61. So you've got to cut your cloth accordingly. And that's where wiggle room and moving players on becomes an issue, things that the fans don't want to hear, of course. But the 49ers, because they're businessmen, because they're no jokes, they've been here, seen there, done it in terms of with the 49ers, etc. They know what they're doing from a sport franchise perspective. I'm not saying we're franchise, but yeah, working in sport, if you like. So they're realistic about what that would mean for squad building and transfers if we did spend a second year in the Championship. The important thing to note from the piece is that the club and the 49ers do not think that by not going up in the playoffs would mean that we would then have to have a fire sale. So calm down, peeps, because I see this all the time. Every man and his dog's going to leave Leeds United, just so he can comply with PSR. That's not the truth, okay? But we will have to cash in on some. Now, of course, one of them players would be Championship Player of the Year, Crysencio Somerville. We cannot get away from that fact. We know this, right? He's wanted by some massive clubs that are higher up the food chain. And again, when you sell someone like Somerville, which we all know will happen, when you're looking at 30 to 40 million, and you bring him in for 1.5, whatever it was, I mean, come on, that's going to massively help your PSR. You could even throw Willie Gnonto in there. He'll probably ask to leave, like he did last summer. I gave you a year. I want out now. And I think that's only fair that Leeds United say, okay, yep, fair enough. But again, he's a player that was bought for what, 5 million, was it? There or thereabouts. I know previously I've said 500,000. I just looked at that 5 and I don't know. But yeah, 5 million. Again, you're going to be looking at 25, 30. It's massive, massive pluses. Now, outside of that, I don't think there'll be much movement, apart from those that are out of contracts, etc. What Phil here did report that Archie Gray, 18-year-old, Leeds United's most valuable academy asset since forever, okay? The 49ers know that there is no upside in public relations with cashing in on such a great player at such a young age, when there's still time for him to grow, not least his brother also coming through, Harry Gray. And we did also sign him on a new contract to 2028. So all the noises coming out from the 49ers is that Archie Gray is staying put, and that is music to my ears. And I think we've seen with the 49ers, they're more than willing to bat off huge clubs. They are more than willing to bat off huge fees. They could have cashed in on Gnonto. They could have cashed in on Somerville last summer, even Rutter. And none of us would have scratched, none of us would have batted an eyelid had they sold Rutter. Yes, we'd have gone, oh, well, we've lost money, but he's going to Dortmund, etc. And you can't turn that money down for a player who's done now. Do you see what I'm saying? But they still battered that away. If they were a selling club, if they were a club that just wanted a quick buck, they'd have just done that. Because that wouldn't have been a problem with the Leeds United fan base in the summer. I'm telling you that for a fact. So I don't think Archie's going to leave. I'm positive about that. And another person, and this might pain a few of you, that won't leave, Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm not fucking leaving vibes, okay, is Daniel Farke. Because historically, the 49ers don't bend to any sort of pressure, if there is any outside of social media at all. They've run the 49ers enterprises like this. They're not prone to snap judgments. They're not ever in a hurry to tear up models that they've invested in. They've seen Daniel Farke as an investable person, someone that they know they can have longevity with, provided he's given the tools, and they've given him the tools. They don't flip-flop, they don't veer off in a new direction when the road starts to get bumpy, and they're going to back him because, again, this is, when we talk about them, getting in on a project, this is what they've done with Daniel Farke by giving him all the players. All the players that were brought into Ellen Road weren't done so by a Victor Orta type character that said, oh yeah, this is the way we want to go on, getting a manager to fix that and accept it. Farke's had to give the nod on all these since July. He's had to give direct approval or at least be involved in the conversation, you know. Apparently he's got a great relationship with Parag Marate, which again, continuity is key for me, and that's another reason why Daniel Farke will not exit Leeds United. And the 49ers have not only, warmed to results under him, because yes, we've had a fall-off, and I put that down now a lot to the experience of the squad, but it's also the way that he's been able to deal with things publicly. You know, the 49ers will like that. You know, we might not care, but in terms of how he deals with the media, and let's be honest, we've never had any sort of messy headlines, as Phil refers to in the piece. We've never had any situations where we've gone, oh, that's a bit... He's been great for the press. For public relations, Daniel Farke has been absolutely fantastic. And let's not forget, coming back to it again, 90 points this season, you know? You will think, or you would... I don't think there'll be many that don't think he can replicate that. He can replicate something similar that will see Leeds United get promoted in 24-25 if indeed we do stay in the Championship. Going into next season, if Daniel Farke's still here, not if, when he's still here, I believe we will go up. I genuinely believe that, but I believe that this season, so that's not going to be anything new, and everyone, you're saying this all the time, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But the German signed a 4-year contract for a reason. Of course, if he did a massive fall-off, we won't be having this, but we still finished third, we're still in the playoffs, and we can go again. Now, you could argue that 4-year deal as well also might throw up some issues with PSR if we were to move him on, and that might be another reason, but I think the 49ers are smart enough to know, well, we can't afford to sack him, so we'll just do with having a shit season. They're not going to do that. If he was poor, they would get rid, yeah? Because... yes, paying off a contract might hit your PSR, but if you don't go up ever or in the next few years, it's going to hurt even more, right? Look, promotion wasn't set as a fixed target for his first year, both with Farke and behind the scenes as well. And he's come out and said as much, and the 49ers have mirrored that. It's just, for me, it's positive. It's good to have continuity at the football club. I'm really excited for what the future holds, whether that's in the Championship or Premier League. I don't think we'll be in the Championship longer than next year. It's positive to hear that players like Archie Gray will stay put. I think, we're not deluded enough to know that the likes of Somerville and Co will leave, but I don't think there'll be that many big-name first-team players that will. I think we'll even still try get Joe Rodon over the line, and then bring in some players to bolster out the squad. I still stand by the point that I believe Leeds United's squad will be better next season. Okay, we might not have individual brilliance, but squad-wise balance will be much better. But yeah, there's the piece that was done after that exclusive 49ers meeting, with the hierarchy at the football club. Archie's going nowhere, Daniel Farke's going nowhere, and Leeds United still might get promoted. But if not, don't worry, we will be there. We will be there next year, okay? Listen, I want you to smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, hit the notification bell. Make sure you join me for Presser Reaction. Watch mine and Ben Bloom's playoff predictions last night. Yeah, watch that on playback. And then obviously Saturday you'll have a preview, and then Sunday it's game day. Yes, man, finally, because this week's been laborious. This week's been tough. And I just hope if we win on Sunday, oh my days, we are going to be bouncing, and I can't wait for it. Right, folks, I'm going to leave it there. Peace out. Leeds.